People's cat. Sort of a garden update, but it's actually more a show and tell. I'm doing tomatoes for the first time ever, because me and Kitty really don't like tomatoes, the texture of them. We like the tomato juice and cooked, but we've never been a big fan at all, either of us, of the texture of raw tomatoes. But we found last year that we could actually enjoy small little tomatoes, so I decided this year to try an experiment, because I'm always experimenting with parts of my garden, and we have been growing tomatoes for the first time. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody suggested that I get a special strainer to process the tomatoes, and I thought that was an excellent idea, so I went to the model that they recommended, and it was going to cost me $1,000, and I didn't really feel like paying that. So what I got instead was this. It's directly from Italy. It cost me $38 American rather than $1,000, but I had to pay $80 shipping and handling, and it has good reviews. It's pretty interesting. I'm not really going to show you it now because I haven't got it stable, but I think it's going to be a good little thing. Now let's go and see why I got it. So one of my themes in Grid Down is the waste of calories to get calories. That's why I'm not a big fan of hunting, other than the fact I'm a vegan. I think you're going to be, most places in the world, be burning a lot of calories trying to hunt meat. And even fish to some degree at certain times of the year. It may not be a balance. If you're going to hunt, if you're going to trap, if you're going to fish, almost every day that you do that, the calories that you gain have to be more than the calories you burn. Or you're going to go in a calorie deficit, and you'll be like on the Alone program, and it'll be who can cope with starvation the best survives the longest before death. Anyway, that's just what I think. I know other people have different opinions on that, but that's what I think. So as ever, I got cherry tomatoes, and right now all the gardeners are screaming at me, what the hell is that? This is seed cherry tomatoes, heirloom, put in the ground and watered frequently. Yes, I know you're supposed to cut and prune and all the rest of it, but as I said, in Grid Down, I think there's advantages to being able to grow crops that you don't have to actually do much with other than water occasionally. So that's why I did that. So shad is repairing itself from what obviously was too much wood ash into the soil. So this year I won't be putting wood ash in, and in future years I put wood ash and pine needles 50-50 mix. And it's still producing for us. Borage has gone crazy. I'm actually looking to transplant that into other areas of the garden because it's been proven to me really effective for pests. And the carrots, they take forever up here if you do them organically without fast fertilizer and pre-growing them. So they will be a fall crop, and I just do them every so often just to see what happens with them. To be honest, carrots in a raised box are a waste of time. They don't really go that deep and they end up very, very thick. But, you know, I don't really want to put them in the ground bed in a suburban garden. In Grid Down, as has been pointed out to me and I agree, I'll be doing a lot of potatoes, a lot of carrots, a lot of turnips, a lot of that sort of root crops. I'm wanting to, next year, to experiment with yams. I want to try and grow some yams, figure out how to seed them. Now speaking of seeding, for those people who don't know, this is corn. And if you didn't know, you can go grow corn in a raised garden. And it's almost ready to harvest, I think. Got about 5 or 6 cobs, quite happy with it. Obviously, to feed yourself in Grid Down, you're going to have to plant a lot of corn. Now, my question for anybody out there, I'm going to look it up myself, but have you ever seed saved corn? I'd really like to with this. I'd like to save at least 1 or 2 of the cobs and plant all of those seeds up in the organic garden at the Shire next year, because we're going to start the gardens up there next year, and that's going to be quite the process. And I want to start with a load of potatoes and a load of corn, just to go with some basics, just to make sure the basics are established in the soil and they can grow up there, because that will be kind of key for us. Corn is one of those vegetables that you really kind of need to grow. Sure, you can grow quinoa, sure you can grow amaranth, but corn, corn on the cob, yellow corn, added to white rice, basically, and beans will make, for sure, no matter without calculating, a complete protein intake. And as I keep telling people, in grid down, most of your diet's going to be plant-based or you're going to die. So that's my first attempt at reseeding borage. We'll see how that goes. And there's a little bit of amaranth, reseeded itself from last year. So I'm really happy. I planted this last year, didn't harvest much of it, and the amaranth reseeded itself. And it was a big shock to me that it did. This gives me great hope. What I'm going to be doing next spring is I'm going to be seeding patches of amaranth around the periphery of the Shire, because this stuff, as I keep telling you guys, is an absolute vital thing to have. If I can grow this 40 miles north of Toronto, so can you. You can eat the leaves in small amounts, but the real key thing for this is the roots, which I've never tried, and that will be a fall project. And this, as you can see, these get quite tall. Actually, amaranth can get a lot taller than this, but like I say, there's no fertilizer going in and there's no care other than water. And it's very drought resistant, and it's very good in hot. And most people in grid down, if you're in a suburban or rural, even a rural area, suburban or rural area, are not going to look at this plant and think, wow, food. And you'll see this when I do it. Basically, once it's really heavy in the fall, you just snap this off, put it in a brown paper bag, shake, and then use a sieve and blow method. And although it's a bit fiddly, you get an enormous amount of seed. And the seed can be added to food to give you a protein. The seed can be used as a cereal. There's lots of things amaranth seed's good for. So I do advise that. The hacked to death rhubarb patch will come back again. It already is, really. It's been heavily used this year, and that's only a tiny patch. So again, you know, consider getting some rhubarb established, because it will generate food for you throughout the growing season, however long the growing season is. Now, I think these are actually squash, and so far this is the first week of August. We're not getting product, but we do have flowers, so there's hope. These, I believe, now are beets. I got this wrong. They're not doing so great, but we'll see how they go. Again, that's a late fall crop. The reseeded beans aren't doing great, but they're a dwarf variety, but we'll see how they go. They reseeded themselves without any intervention from a crop that I just left there last year.